wisdom, student enrollment. That's what the class of God students enrolling. Supreme wisdom, I study it hard. The study of myself is the study of God. Supreme wisdom, write your letter, get your X. Supreme wisdom, that's what you'll be getting next. Supreme wisdom, some call it the lessons, but I call it life, actual facts, no guessing.
In the name of Allah, the Beneficent, the Merciful, I bear witness that there is no God but Allah and that Muhammad is his messenger. I'd like to greet everyone in the greeting words of peace. We say it in the Arabic language, Assalamu alaikum.
Walaikum salam, ma'am.
Okay. Well, originally, I was given the task of doing a two-week class on foundation class on separation, but I have been given an extension of time, so I now have 4 weeks on the subject of separation. And so last week, we're going to go over a review. Last week, we went over the 5 W's and 1 H. And the 5 W's are questions in which are basic for information gathering or problem solving. So the 5 W's for who was here, who remember what the 5 W's and 1 H is?
What, when, where, how, and why.
Why? Yes, so the 5 W's, who, what, when, where, and why, and the H is how. And so on last week, our first, what we want to know was who we're separating from. What are we separating from? When are we going to separate? Why are we going to separate? Who, what, when, where, why?
Where and how.
And how. Oh, where are we going to go when we separate is where. Where are we going to go when we separate, and how are we going to separate? So on last week, we dealt with the who. Who are we separating from? And for those of us who hit the who was, the enemy. What enemy?
Internal enemies and external enemies.
Yes. Internal.
AKA Yaku's graphic devil discovering the planet Earth.
Yes.
And the devil itself.
Yes, ma'am. So,
A 400-year-old enemy.
yes. Open
enemy.
Open enemy. Right? So this week, we're on the what. What are we separating from? So we know the who. So I guess I can put that in there for those who have their paper. So last week we were who. N-E-V. What did you say, Sister Gabrielle? The N in me?
Yes, the N in me.
And so this week we're on the what. What are we separating from? Well, in the Bible, Revelation 8:4, it says, "And I heard another voice from heaven saying, Come out of her, my people, that ye be not partakers of her sins, and that ye receive not of her plagues." So, let's deal with this first part of come out of her, my people. So what, again, dealing with separation, come out of her. So what are we coming out of? Yes. Yes, sir.
Out work on her law,
The laws?
the rule,
Okay.
and oppression,
Yeah.
and murder.
Oh, yeah. Yes, sir.
Yeah. All right, that's all. That's all I remember.
Okay.
Last week we did touch on the mind, coming out of the mind of the enemy. And I'd just like to make a comment on our graphic, because we're online. By no means do we believe that the Bible is holy? It's just a picture. The Bible has been tampered with. And so we want to make sure that we know that holy means something that is pure and has not been tampered with. But that book is a poison book.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, these are one of the graphics. But so you said
I'm invoking the spirit of Brother Gerald in his name.
yes, ma'am. You have to say well, the thing you have to understand is okay. So you said
The mind.
the mind. Yes, ma'am. So, well, the Honorable Mr. Lewis Farrakhan says, yes, we have to come out of her way of thinking. We have to come out of her name, her false worship. Your favorite, you ready for this? The educational system.
Favorite.
And her code of conduct. So, that brings us to our lessons. In the Supreme Wisdom, Lost Found, lesson number 1. Question and answer 8.
Why,
Brother Miller, can you read that for us?
why does the devil keep our people apart from this social equality? Answer, because he does not want us to know how filthy he and all of his affairs. He is all of his affairs.
Afraid.
Oh, right here.
He is afraid.
Right here. And all
He is afraid because when we learn about him, we will run him from among us. Socialists mean they advocate a society of men or group of men for one common cause. Equality means to be equal in everything.
Okay, so what does this have to do with coming out of her way of thinking, her name, her false worship, her educational system, and code of conduct? So, I guess we can start with the educational system since we have our elite educators in-house. Come out of her. So what are some things dealing with the educational system as to why we should come out or separate from this educational system?
If you're asking me, I would need to come up to the board and have a whole lecture. But the short answer is, it goes back to another one of the Supreme Wisdom questions and answers about what is the meaning of illiterate. Do you have that on? Okay.
No.
You know, when someone is illiterate, that means they're ignorant. You know, ignorant just means that you don't know something. And when you're ignorant, you can be used as a tool and also a slave. The education system of this world is designed to turn the human being into a cog in a machine that keeps their world up. The system was designed to make us work-a-day slaves, but to keep us so ignorant that we didn't realize that we were slaves. Short answer.
Short answer. Sis Gabrielle?
Oh, that was it. That was it on the head. So what was the question again, restate, please? Well, I mean, I was trying to get the nuances so I can offer something different, but I mean, that's it right there. Well, what
I mean, you have
the education system.
We had, okay, she dealt with education system. We have name, false worship, and code of conduct.
Okay, the Honorable Mr. Farrakhan touched on it this past Sunday when he talked about when you're still going around and doing great things in the name of the slave master, all that credit still goes to him, because you, by carrying his last name, makes you his property. So it's as if, when he gave the example of you running football, you run a touchdown, but your last name is, I don't know, Jackson or Washington. The reason you have that last name Washington is because your ancestors were the property of somebody whose last name is Washington. And so, and even to this day, when I started to deal with people, international people, they looked at me different because my last name is Muhammad, legally as well. But they didn't know where I was from. Even though I spoke English, I think I look like a quote unquote American black. But just by me having, a different last name, of course, on top of the fact that the way I dress, they just automatically assume that I didn't belong to the mentality that most people that look like me belong to. So they were like, you must not be from here. And so your last name means a lot, and even to this day, people from other cultures, if they want to blend into American society, say for instance they want to get a job, sometimes they'll change their name to a more Europeanized name, so on paper they can have an advantage, because when somebody's looking on paper, they might mistake you for one of their people, and say they is my white people, who's most likely in charge of something. If you have, a American or anglicized name, they might on paper think that you are related to them, and so they'll try to give you the benefit of that, And so coming out of their name, it also plays a part in the mindset, because if your name is Joe Washington, as opposed to, I don't know,
No, they know that's a black person right now.
Jamal Muhammad,
They know Washington is a black person too.
Right, right.
I never heard no last name of white people in Washington.
Which is the point. That's the point. Well, if you barely have white people with the last name Washington, it's a white name. Why do we have so many black people with the last name Washington? So when you dig deeper, you'll find out. But anyway, it gets us out of the mindset, because of course, when a man marries, he'll transfer that name on to his wife and then their children, and so he's transferring that mindset, and it's carrying on. He might even take pride in that. He may start a business and then name the business Jackson and Jackson, and it's still giving credit to his ancestors' oppressors, and he's still currently oppressing. So we got to get out the name. We have to get out the name, because your name, words have power. Psychologically, they have an effect on us. So that's why, in the Nation of Islam, we're told not to, use nicknames. Right. Because those words have an effect on, a person's psychology, and what you answer to, you start to assimilate as a part of your being. Mm-hmm. So we most definitely have to get out of his names, and then you won't mentally feel so obligated to follow his rules. You know what I'm saying?
And then changing the name, that can go, like you say, assimilating to his being, go with code of conduct. Because when your name is different, when you're called something, you tend to act according to what you're called. You had your hand?
I did. I had a couple of points from Sister Gabrielle. I remember when she was getting ready to travel to Ghana, and I went to the meeting where the parents or whatnot or whatever came. And they were talking about a certain name that the Ghanaians would call black people that they saw from America. And you think that they're calling you something, like a name in African or in Twi or whatever language they were speaking that may have been favorable, like welcome home type. But according to what we were told, they were actually calling us white people. Because we had come up under the white man, so when we go back to Africa with these white names And really, in the Bible, in the Quran and in the Bible, it talks about Adam naming things. And we know this Adam is this 6,000-year-old baby, and he's naming things. And so he names that which he has dominion over. So he names us. So like Sister Gabrielle said, it frames our minds so we actually become his. Because when you own something, you put your name on it. You put your brand on it. So when we go other places, it's not just that you're lighter skinned in color, it's that your mind has been whitewashed as well. So they understand that. But, even with that they had a lot of they had African names as well, African surnames, many of them take on Christian given names. But that we exported that the devil has exported his mind all over the world now. So even if you go there, you're still going to run into that white mind. And I guess the last thing I want to say is that a good name is better than gold. Okay? And with the name of a thing, you're talking about the nature of it. And the enemy names himself and names other things after not after God himself, but the created things. Right. So he may call himself Roach. I grew up with a young man who had the last name Roach.
Yeah.
You know some roaches?
That's a roach.
Next Roach, yeah, the drummer. You have, Wolf Blitzer.
Right.
Okay? So that's not, we were not made or created, as the lower animals or the created things. We were made in the image and likeness of God. So carrying the name of God is so important to frame our thinking that we are, reflections of God, that we should carry out the attributes of God. So naming the thing and coming out of this naming system that the enemy has given to us will help frame our minds so that we can grow into the gods that we were created to be.
But Tim,
I didn't know the importance of or the meaning of my given name that mom never gave me until I embraced Islam in 1979. And then in 82, I changed my name from Clarence Brigham to Malik Al-Qadr Isan. I chose the name Malik in honor of Malcolm X. And I chose the name Al-Qadr to signify that I was created or ordained by Allah. Because Al-Qadr means the decree of Allah. And Isan means the nature, the natural nature of the human being. Isan. And I didn't even know up to that time, 82, that I didn't even know that Mama never made a birth certificate with my name on. My mama and my grandmother, being a midwife, had birthed me at home in 1947 and gave me the name Clarence Brigham, and wrote the name down in the Bible instead of registering it on a birth certificate. No.
You say Clarence Freeman?
Clarence Brigham.
Brigham.
Yeah, Brigham.
Oh, Brigham. Brigham.
Okay.
Yeah. And I didn't even know what that name means, or what the significance of that name, Clarence, until I changed my name, and I saw E.L. Thorndike, and E.L. Thorndike and Bernhardt. dictionary, college dictionary.
Right.
The meaning of my name, was French, come from French people. And, it means the Duke of Clarendon.
Oh,
Yeah, and, the Brigman is a German name that means the, guard over a prison. Brigadier General?
Yeah.
No. Yeah. And I didn't know that, I didn't even have the inspiration to look for the origin of that name until I changed my name. Yeah.
but I mean,
But most of
that goes back to, you know, a name really, you name something, you know, a lot of times based off its function.
Yeah.
Like you were saying, like, that surname Brigman came from, you know,
German.
from a general, you know, for somebody who was, so most likely that person ended up taking on that name because that was their job.
Yeah.
You see what I'm saying? If you made shoes, your last name would be shoemaker. You see what I'm saying?
Blacksmith.
Yeah, if you work iron, they'll call you blacksmith. You know, if you
You were a shoe copper, they call you shoemaker.
right, if you cook, they'll call you cook. You know,
Right.
so it's like that goes to show you like their naming system and the value they put on the name of things. And a lot of times, you know, your name denotes your function. And so if you were property of somebody, they wanted you to know your place is their property, just like putting a brand.
Yeah.
You know, but you know, why would they put a brand on you? That way, if you ever ran away, somebody could see that brand and know who you belong to.
Yeah.
And that's the same way it is with, you know, carrying the slave master's name. Like literally, we as black people in America who are descendants of enslaved Africans, we don't know what tribe we came from back in Africa, but we definitely can trace what plantation we came from
Yeah.
by looking at our last
That's
name.
real.
You know,
Yeah.
so we gotta break the ties, you know, to the plantation mentality
Yeah.
by getting rid of their name, so they can no longer trace us, you know, as their property.
Supreme wisdom, some call it the lessons, but I call it life, actual facts, no guessing.